Last week, a bipartisan delegation of 7 U.S. senators visited the 4 signatory nations of the Abraham Accords, meeting with the leaders of Israel, the United Arab Emirates, Bahrain, and Morocco. Now, in interviews published today, one of its members, the Democratic senator from New York, Kirsten Gillibrand, said, based on what they heard, she believed the accords could be expanded despite recent political developments with Israel's right-wing government. She added that the U.S. should motivate Arab states who join the accords to invest in building up the Palestinian economy, quote, in exchange for F-35s and other technology they could use to defend themselves against Iran. Now, a short time ago, the entire delegation held a press conference in Washington. Here's what some of them had to say there.
The United States must prioritize bringing about tangible projects and initiatives that improve the lives of ordinary people in Israel and the Arab world. And if we are to expand the accords to other countries, we must first show how they are working with existing partner nations.
I can tell you, I've been to the Middle East many, many times. I think this trip was the most optimistic of my many travels. And it's the first time I've really seen an opportunity for long-term peace in the region.
Iran's malign, violent influence and that of its proxies is everywhere. It is everywhere. And it's the #1 issue raised by every single leader in every single country, including Morocco, including the UAE, including the Palestinian Authority.
Well, joining us for more, our senior U.S. correspondent, Mike Wagenheim, who today is at the United Nations, and from the United Arab Emirates, our Dubai correspondent, Bastian Burri. Mike, let me start with you. Several interesting comments coming out of that visit there, but the main message seems to be that this so-called Abraham Accords caucus wants the Biden administration to get, I think, to do more and to get more involved in expanding them. We even heard that urging from the Democrats.
That's right. You know, it almost seems to be at this point obvious to us for a long time in Israel and the Middle East, but what is now becoming obvious on the American side as well is that it's a win-win-win foreign policy, that there are very few downsides, very few risks that come out of not only deepening the existing relationships within the Abraham Accords, but working on expanding those relationships as well, that as long as security interests and values interests are taken into account on the American side, that they can, develop more of a regional security infrastructure, regional economic infrastructure. And the Middle East has always been an area where America's had to invest military and defense resources. If they can build up the region, if they can make it more secure, if they can make it more interconnected, well, then by definition, that means that they can start to have less and less of a military footprint, less and less resources that are involved, and able to focus those elsewhere, whether it be in Russia, China, and other areas of urgency throughout the world. So they really see the Abraham Accords as something that can benefit not only their partners in the region, but America more urgently when they have to deal with other matters throughout the globe that are of importance right now, Calev.
Right. And Bastian, it was interesting to hear at least one of the senators say that she would like to see the countries like the UAE, for example, maybe contribute more to the Palestinian economy and maybe even return for benefits from the U.S. F-35s. Have those comments gotten any reaction there in the Emirates or any of the comments made by the senators?
Well, we got two types of comments by Senator Gillibrand. First, the comments on the settlements, the Israeli settlements in the West Bank. We don't have all the details yet of the discussions that took place between Senator Gillibrand and the Emirati leaders. But first and foremost, to be honest with you, Calev, it's very unlikely that the Emirati leader told her the Abraham Accords could expand regardless of the situation in the West Bank, regardless of the possibility that the settlements may expand too. The Biden administration opposed, Abu Dhabi opposed as well. So no official reaction here as of today, but undoubtedly a firm disagreement with these comments. Now, second comments about the integrated regional security. A much more positive reaction here, as there is an obvious will to bring the Israeli army closer to the Emirati force through transfers of technologies, procedures, strategies, knowledge. That's ultimately what is at stake in this rapprochement, to mutualize, to a certain extent at least, the defense of Israel and the Gulf. Good news for the actors of the region. The U.S. has been insisting on this for decades and wants to play the leading role in this new Israeli-Arab defense shield. But let's add some nuance. We're obviously not talking about a complete pooling of armies, but rather about a system that would link the radars, satellites, aircrafts of the countries in the region, a system in which, let's remember that the Israeli Iron Dome would have its place.
All right. Well, certainly interesting to see the involvement of the senators and some of the suggestions they have. Bastian Burry in Dubai, thank you for that.